Tool belts, a very useful item for many industries. Mainly I use this for woodworking. This one was purchased back in the 1990s when I got my first cabinet maker job. It's been modified over the years, but today it is due for an overhaul. The plastic buckle broke. I bet we can fix that. I happen to have a new belt with better rigidity to keep things in place. The first task, though, is to fix the tri-square holder. It needs a better hold on the belt. It's a little bit too floppy. I made this from a different holder and added the thermoformed kydex shaped for the tool. Worked out quite nicely, but you can see there the opening is way too big. Allow me a moment to unencumber the pouches and we shall begin. I feel that tool belts are one of the most personalized things you can have in your workshop. It shows how you approach work, what's important to you. For example, I have my tape measure front and center. Here's that dud buckle we need to replace. Starting from a clean spot, how about that? Since I had this tool belt for years, it does hold some sentimental value to me. Or maybe it's because I would be ashamed at any job site for having a new unblemished kit. Probably a bit of both. But let's save removing the belt from the pouches for a bit later. Get some riveting action going on here for the tri-square. Actually, I know I just said rivets, but I'm going to use a Chicago screw here, the bolt with two halves. I'll admit that I still giggle when somebody calls them sex bolts. Shop talk is funny sometimes. If I made sheaths and holsters for a living, I think I'd create some kind of fixture to hold the item and then both ends of the fastener in place so it can be tightened easy. I'm always fiddling with, a screwdriver and a screw gun, but it works. I make it work. All right, good to go. Now let's see about getting this belt removed from the pouches. Side quest number 1 done. Removing the rivets. It was about here that I started questioning my decision to reuse the pouches, but I was determined because this is good old-fashioned American leather. Sturdy links, strong fasteners, no finer craftsmanship can be found. Oh. What I meant to say was this was the perfect time to upgrade the entire system. Yeah, that was the plan from the beginning. As it turns out, my shop elves ran to the hardware store and gifted me a new setup at precisely the right moment. Thanks, wood elves. As this project was about the belt anyway, let's proceed. I no longer wanted a plastic buckle, as I prefer this kit to last longer than the previous iteration. I did purchase a metal quick-release buckle. Shall we see about getting it installed? There's the new belt. And old belt. Out the door. Too flimsy. The new belt also has a plastic buckle. My original thought was to just swap out the buckle and the broke. That did not actually work out. So the procedure is pretty quick. I'd undo the old one, razor it off, and clamp the new guy, burn some holes through that nylon belt, and install some copper rivets. Looking at that, it doesn't look all that sturdy. So be careful there in case you wanted to, that. I do feel like every project does take some toll on your body. I do like rivets, copper rivets like that. The little, just super simple, just a rivet, a washer that's pressed in place. After fastened down nice and tight, we clip off the ends and make them smooth. I do think we're ready for an assembly and some initial test fitting for length of belt and whatnot. So let's jump into that. Yeah, don't forget that. That goes on first. It's obviously way too long, but that's okay. Yeah, that's kind of where it is. I thought for a bit that I was going to be able to have these spread out a little bit more, but we shall see. One of the things is when we're working in smaller spaces like under cabinets, things can fall out, but I think these are decently okay. Okay, we'll roll with it. This is the final, this is where things want to be. That means this guy needs to leave. I think this strap needs to go. I mean, it's nice, but I'm not gonna use it. I will say I have owned the original Cobra belt buckles before. This is a cheapie. I didn't think it would be a big deal. It was a big deal. I had to file off edges, and even still, it's a little bit. It's not bad, but it's you got to kind of wiggle it in. I might have to take more of it off, but don't buy cheap shit. Let's see. This has to go. It is set correct, but it feels weird. Yeah, I think this is backwards. Is it? All right, after some finagling, I think I got it. Let's see how this fits. Okay. Okay, not too shabby. Whew. Okay. Wonder why there's a hook up front. It's a very strange place to have a hammer. I decided not to pin these guys down. I had a bunch of copper rivets I was going to use, but I ran that mistake when I did my apron, and I ended up with a bunch of holes in it. So I'm going to live with this for a few weeks, see what I like about it, if I need to make any changes, and then I'll rivet it down just like I did the belt buckle. But for now, I think this works. I think it's in a good spot. The funny thing is, The old tool belt, the old tool belt had things in a certain spot, and I was like, that I gotta make this one work because it was where things were I was used to, but I just made a new one. So apparently this can handle a lot more stuff. That's cool. Hammer stuff. Maybe one day I'll talk about pencils. I have so many pencils from decades in drafting. Very specific uses for each hardness, each lead size. Like one of my favorites recently, I know I'm digressing. 1.3 millimeter leads, these are pretty cool. These are handy. Then I use the 7/10 for detail stuff, and then I think this is a 2 millimeter for like lumber marking, things like that. So always have different sizes handy. Always a screwdriver in there. I do have, of course, I have a tri-square and I have a machinist square. Both have very specific uses. I think that's getting close. So I really appreciate you spending some time with me and talking about the mobile tool belt. Maybe that's what that's for, to hang that temporarily. I don't know. What I can tell you is that I'm happy to have an upgraded tool belt that's not going to fall apart, and I do believe this will last me for a long time. Thank you so much. One thing about this, working in Arizona in the summertime, it is freaking hot. It is, I can just barely read it. It's about 104 in this shop, which is what, 41 degrees Celsius, around there. I'm still learning, but time to retreat to some actual air conditioning. Let's do it. Thank you.